mean, they had the testimony of Sammy Ramirez, a high up, supposedly high up Nuestra Familia gang member who, you know, supervised the Norteño street gangs. And he provided this theory of the prosecution, which was that there is a green light on the mob gang, and that in order to get that green light lifted, they had to commit crimes, specifically the murder of Sureños.
Sure, how he was tied to their creation. He himself testified that his business partner was Javier Garcia, who was, the evidence showed, a shot caller, a leader of this mob gang.
Nosotros fumamos, chingamos, hallamos, peleamos, cuetamos, aquí estamos y no los vamos, rifamos todo. ¡Chao! ¡Ahú! ¡Ahú!
Thinking about life, cause life ain't easy. Money in my life will make life a little easy. Some bitches tease me, some bitches easy. I don't give a fuck how anybody sees me. Speak on minds, I speak with nines. I ain't hard to find, I'm hard to kill. My heart defines a heart of steel. Wrap around the yellow, take me pussies in the chills. See me in the front line when shit kick off. See me from behind with the bitch pants off. Gucci this, Gucci that, Gucci got a gang of gas hoes in the back. Got no friends cause they act, but this ain't no movie. Pussies get whacked in real life situations. Fuck patience, two faces, ain't knowing what they facing. Something like parsley mixed with the KJ.
I got 16 bars, I want 16 cars. I got 16 bars, I want 16 cars.
I want to welcome everybody to Gangster Music and Dirty Politics. Today I'm going to hit you guys with the long-awaited San Carlos boys and how we accumulated that area in 1996 and made a mob neighborhood an offshoot of the West Side Mob Alma Avenue gang. You know what I'm saying? Where San Carlos had grown to where it had its own offshoot, which was Drake Street. You know what I'm saying? And then you had race over there. You feel me? So it was growing fast, man. San Carlos it holds its own. You feel me? It's still a mob gang. It was originally started up as a subset of the West Side Mob Alma Ave neighborhood, right? We didn't plan on going into San Carlos. No one planned. Actually, there was homies from the mob that already lived there while I was in prison. When I was in prison, I had got about this new gang that had started up on the west side on San Carlos called BGT, Barrio Gran Tierra, that was going at it with the homies from the hood. I guess they shot up two of the homies' houses. At the same time, they were going at it with the shoe. You know, they're a new gang, so when you're a new gang, you have more to prove, you feel me? And you gotta let motherfuckers know that you're there, you feel me? And ain't no one gonna fuck with you guys because, you know, you're gonna pull them out type of shit, you feel me? So these dudes from BGT were, you know, on that level trying to act up like that at that time, 94, 95. Like I said, I was in the pen, homie. So when I got out in 96, I had moved to that neighborhood, you feel me? Paroled there off of Willard between Scott and San Carlos. But before I do that, let me break down some key facts about the whole San Carlos thing, because see, the San Carlos neighborhood and us going into there, it wasn't planned, but like I said, it was an opportunity, and the opportunity was taken based on the fact that we were trying to find a way to deplete Horseshoe of their manpower to make them a smaller gang. So as far as like right here though, right, like this is where like the whole, like the San Carlos situation popped up. You know what I mean? Right here on Willard, right here in the whole little Chichi area. Like I said, this neighborhood was like 6 different gangs at one point, right? So when we're talking, that shit hears us too and everything. You can hear me when I'm talking? Oh, okay. All right, then that's good then. So, like I said, the Chichi Village area right here, at one point, this area, there was a Barrio San Carlos here at one point, but they were like a little small, little thing, wasn't really nothing serious. And they had like 4 or 5 other gangs all back here in this area, right? Yeah, SJBP, yeah, Palmas Cats, yeah, do some Horseshoe, Westside Ganga. You know, there's a lot of the older gangs, right? And all this little area, all the way down to like May Allen, a little bit up, all the way down to Lee, and then you came out down to San Carlos. But like I said, this is one of the little back areas right here where everything really started at, and where all the beef kind of started. You feel me? That it just became the neighborhood. Like I said, it wasn't nothing that was planned or plotted, nothing like that. It just, we ended up coming out here, and then you know, like I said, we went at it with all these gangs out here, and this ended up becoming our neighborhood. You know what I mean? A West Side Mob, basically, they call it a offshoot, or like a little, you know, a separate branch of the neighborhood and shit. You feel me? We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go up the street right here. I'll show you a couple other little things over here down the street. Hey. So our main objective at that point and at that time in 1996, or at least mine, was to find a way to deplete Horseshoe of more manpower. You feel me? Now, for me, the way I looked at it was like this, right? So with SSP and Canton swallowing up that big piece of Horseshoe neighborhood, homie, and it was never really claimed as Horseshoe itself. Horseshoe was really claimed at Breback Park, and that's where Horseshoe kind of failed at preserving and not really understanding how essential it was to keep all those neighborhoods intact. You know what I'm saying? It was vital, you feel me? And what happened was with SSP and Canton coming in there and taking over that area, it cuts them off from the Keys area. You know, but you gotta understand, Horseshoe was accumulating manpower all the way from Keys, all in the Almaden Vine area where the CT's at, House of Pizza, up Reed, Williams, all that shit, homie. And then going all the way back down the opposite way, going west into the San Carlos area, money, Azareyes, you know, all that shit in the back park, everything, money, Southwest, fucking Stokes, that whole Delmar area, Race and all that shit, homie, Lincoln, you know, all that shit, Drake Street in the back, all the way up Bird Avenue going into the old Vadio River Street, homie, where the Sharks Arena is at. The Horseshoe had manpower coming from all those fucking areas, money, so it made Horseshoe a big ass fucking gang. But with SSP and Canton going in there, that takes half of their fucking manpower, because that's half of the area or territory they were utilizing to pull manpower into their neighborhood. You feel me? So with us going into San Carlos, that also gave us the upper hand, and at the same time depleted Horseshoe of manpower. You feel me? So like I said, I don't think Horseshoe understood that while we're doing all these things, it's making them a smaller gang. You can't let your enemies grow around you. You gotta grow around your enemies. You feel me? It's a way to do shit. You feel me? Now you gotta understand, us setting up San Carlos and setting up another pocket of the mob over there is just something that's been practiced in LA. You know what I'm saying? With the gangs out there, Crips, Bloods, and the Southsiders. You know what I'm saying? They've been practicing this gang strategy shit from the fucking 70s, money. You feel me? So they had that shit down to the T over there. You know what I mean? So we started doing it over here as far as my neighborhood. You feel me? And like I said, I took over San Carlos when I was 20 years old, money. You feel me? And it wasn't really a hostile takeover because no one really wanted the motherfucking beef over there. You feel me? But there was dudes that they were acting up, and a couple had to get their heads cracked open, some had to get poked, some had to get sliced up, so, you know, shit like that. Motherfuckers know, you feel me? And I was the main motherfucker doing it. You feel me? All the time when something had to get dealt with, I was the one dealing with it. You feel me? And like I said, I had to go against some of the older homeboys from my neighborhood because they didn't feel that the mob should be on San Carlos, but they didn't understand that we didn't really have a choice at the time. We have to grow. If we don't grow, everybody's going to outgrow us to the point where we're not even going to be in existence. They're going to take over our neighborhood. You feel me? So there's sometimes you have to think outside the box, and that's the level I was at, because like I said, I was in Avenal, so when I came from Avenal, I was already ready. You have to be ready for this type of shit. You feel me? And in my head, like I said, I had wrote a 10-year plan. 6 years before I got to 1991, 92, I wrote a 10-year plan on how and what we need to do to stay in existence by the year 2000. You know what I'm saying? And that shit all fell into place, money, by itself. You feel me? Like I said, San Carlos wasn't planned, money, but as soon as I seen that pocket open, I took advantage of it. Just on the fact that a lot of people didn't like us over there, didn't want us over there, were complaining, didn't like to go writing on the walls and all that shit. So I would write on the walls even fucking more. You feel me? I made people fucking leave out of just being uncomfortable over there, money, because they didn't have the fucking balls to say fuck you to my face or anybody else from my hood. They got crazy sometimes with the youngsters from San Carlos and told them some way out shit, but they would let me know, and then I would go over there and then I would let whoever know what's up, what the fuck you want to do. Back then I used to work at Fumax or Foo for Less back then, so I always had my box cutter. So I was known though, I'll put $150 across your whole motherfucking mouthpiece, baby. You better watch your motherfucking shit. You feel me? So motherfuckers knew, homie. You know what I'm saying? And then the Southsiders, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, homie, San Carlos was there, and there was Southsiders from SSP, Canton, VST going up in there, chasing homeboys, acting crazy, disrespecting all the time. So we cleaned the house, money. You feel me? We started attacking these fools. Then these fools understood that the shit was under new management. They the same motherfuckers there. You come over here, we're going over there. And if we go over there, we're going over there. You guys ain't fucking, we're gonna snatch people up. And they knew that shit, money. You feel me? So we were on a different level, money, when we went to San Carlos area, money. Because like I said, by that time, 1996, the mob was already fighting with, let's say, 80% of the gangs in San Jose for about 6-7 years already, money. You feel me? 5 years solid, fighting with everybody though, just going at it. At some point, money, there was fucking, I'm gonna say 10 homeboys that got stabbed just in 2 years by the homeboys. You know what I'm saying? From 1991 to 1993, at least 10 homeboys got stabbed by other homies. You feel me? And it was crazy, money. But that's some of the shit that we had to go through in order to get to that point where we were able to run into these fucking neighborhoods, money. Now you gotta remember when Canton and SSP came in, homie, we're not the one, we didn't plant these LA gangs there, they planted themselves there, or whoever, whatever the fuck out, but they ended up there. And they only ended up there and got strong as they did because modality was kind of going at it and cut them off from going right there. Plus they had to stay in the neighborhood because they were going at it with us, and we were over here because we were going at it with them, so that left that area unoccupied. Like I said,
Stay right there.
Yeah, back in the days, it used to be Horseshoes neighborhood too, though. Until the Southsiders came from LA, they took over this area all right here. It's been all Southsiders ever since. You know what I mean? For like a long time. You want to get those shoes right there up there too? No. Or is it sending away?
Oh, we got it.
They were pulling manpower from. They were accumulating manpower from 5 or 6 different areas all around them. And like I said, by SSP and Canton coming in and snatching up an area where obviously, you know, statistics tells it all. This is a known gang-infested area. So there's 50 to 100 people coming out of this neighborhood. You feel me? Constantly. You got 50 heads to 100 people coming out of this neighborhood, you know, banging, you know. And Horseshoe lost that. You know, when they lost that, they lost the connection to Keys and all the other areas around that area. The Virginia, Vine, Almaden area, CET, House of Pizza and all that shit, right? They lost that area. By us going into the San Carlos neighborhood, now we deplete them of more manpower. And like I said, I don't think they understood exactly how essential it was to keep the grass green and to fight for those areas and to make sure that you kept all that shit as your barrio, you feel me? But like I said, by different barrios moving in and taking over all these little these spots all around you, it made Horseshoe a more irrelevant gang. If you compare it to the 80s and early 90s, the Horseshoe was a very large fucking gang that all the way around, you feel me? And I'm talking about before SSP and Canton and Modality, and even before the mob had any kind of real presence. The Horseshoe had all that area of money. There was dudes from the West Side Mob area neighborhood that were going getting jumped in the Horseshoe, homie. And like I said, because of that, it was always looked and frowned upon when motherfuckers from our neighborhood would go and get jumped into some other neighborhood. You were looked at as the enemy in the hood. People would shine you on and treat you like straight shit. And that's something we did on San Carlos, because there was dudes, when we started up, dudes were trying to still bang San Carlos, but they were from the mob. So we had to mop up some cats and like that too, though, to let them know that they couldn't claim that shit. If you ain't from the mob, you ain't banging this shit. You feel me? Straight up. And if you a sympathizer and associate, that's cool. But if you go get jumped into some other neighborhood, you would be considered, you know, a lightweight hood hopper, homie. A half-ass motherfucker, a motherfucker that went and got jumped into some other shit when by right, this is your barrio. You feel me? So because of that money, a lot of vatos, you know what I'm saying, end up getting into San Carlos money, and that makes San Carlos a very large gang. You know, from I think 96 to 99, they definitely had a good squad. You know what I'm saying? So with that said, you know, check out this footage of the San Carlos area. While I go ahead and I speak on some of these other facts and whatnot, I'm gonna be throwing up aerial footage here and there, so you'll be catching that while you're just hearing me speak on shit and whatnot, right? I drove around, I moved around a little bit. I got the back areas, a couple of little areas where motherfuckers struck up at. Overall though, like I said, it's a very large area of money. I couldn't cover everything, but I got a couple little spots and put this shit together.
Back in 1992 to like 1998, this shit was infested with a bunch of different gangs. Like I said, you know, there's only a few gangs left back in 90, and by 98, this shit was already all flushed out. That we had cleaned out everybody, and the people that were here that we didn't really have beef with, we just made them uncomfortable by like writing all over the walls and shit like that. You feel me? And by us doing all that shit, a lot of dudes just decided to move out and get the fuck out of here because they just didn't feel comfortable around us. And you know what I'm saying? A lot of their people don't like us, so they end up all moving out the hood.
Got it.
You know what I mean? And right here you got that West Side Mob and that Barrio Libre Mob, BLM. Barrio Libre is the original neighborhood. So they just put the mob behind Barrio Libre, so it became Barrio Libre Mob too.
So it's easy for these cats to move in, and by the time we know this, bam, it was way too late. And like I said, that's a heavily gang-infested area. That's why I'm trying to tell you that Horseshoe collected a lot of manpower from that area because there was a lot of heads coming out of that area, especially with, you know, everybody knows with schools, apartments, all that kind of shit, elementaries, middle schools, those are all like breeding grounds, you know what I'm saying? All gang members know that shit, you feel me? Not, just so you're aware of it, you know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not saying, you know, go get some little kids and shit like that, but it's just the way it works. Poverty, motherfuckers don't got nothing. They go home, they're fucking starving, you know what I'm saying? The only ones they see that got money is the older homies in the hood that are running around in nice ass fucking ronflas and, you know what I'm saying, showing the bag and showing the fucking, you know what I'm saying, rubber bands and all that kind of shit money. So motherfuckers want the same shit, so they end up kicking it in the hood, they run around and they're trying to get money, bro. You feel me? And then they end up getting in the ganga, and they end up putting in work, and they sacrifice, because there's a family they know, and they're willing to go to jail for that family. You know what I mean? So that's how this shit was on Alma and on San Carlos. You know what I'm saying? Because in San Carlos, homie, there was homies from San Carlos getting jumped into like another gang, and then getting San Carlos tattooed on them. Like, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Now, the only ones that I know of that get San Carlos, that I know there's never been, there'll never be a problem, is the homies from Barrio San Carlos, the homies from West Side Ganga. Anybody else is, you know, you're gonna get smashed. You feel me? That's because they were there before us, and we respect that. You feel me? But as far as the mob itself, anybody else, they already know. The mob is one of the largest gangs as far as territory, and I'm talking about the San Carlos mob gang. You know what I'm saying? That shit goes from the 87 freeway, you know, by downtown. It runs parallel all the way up with the 280, all the way down across Bascom into Stevens Creek to the 880 freeway on both sides. Reeve, all that shit, going into fucking Park Avenue. Because we had homeboys living around the corner on Los Reyes. We had homeboys living on Park Avenue. We had homeboys living on Racist Apartments. We had homeboys living on Chichi, Willard, Page, Mayallen. We had homeboys living everywhere on that motherfucker. Hester, motherfucking Boston, Archuleta, everywhere, money. We had homeboys living all around that motherfucker. G, all down Scott, all that money. You feel me? So, like I said, money, we sold that motherfucking shit up, homie. You know what I'm saying? And before we even took over San Carlos, I used to go out there 92, 93 with the homie Shorty. You feel me? And I had beef with cats out there, so I would get in problems with cats and argue and maybe go one-on-one sometimes in the back of Fiesta lanes or whatever. But, you know what I'm saying, we would go over there, money, and that was like out of bounds for me, because back then, you remember, basically everywhere in San Jose was out of bounds for the mob. You know what I mean? But we went wherever the fuck we wanted to go, money. You know what I'm saying? And everybody knows, money, if I have to go one-on-one, after I kick your fucking ass, we're going to jump you. If the homie goes one-on-one, after he kicks your fucking ass, we're going to jump you. It was like no matter what, you're getting jumped. You feel me? Because that's how we got down back in the early 90s. You know what I'm saying? So, some of the gangs that were on the west side back then, homie, was the mob, was Barrio Horseshoe, was Ravens Court, was West Side Ganga, Barrio San Carlos, River Street Boys, you had the homies from West Side Gardens. What else you had on the west side? That was it. You had some little gangs that tried to start West Side Thugs and some motherfuckers Brown Pride Carnales and some other little bullshit that we had to shut down. You know what I'm saying? Because you on the west side, you either the mob or you the shoe. You can't start nothing else in the west side. We've always been like that on the west side. We don't let nothing else start up. Us or the shoe did it. You know what I'm saying? We go to war whatever new neighborhoods trying to come out. Now there's BGT right there on Keys and shit, right? But they're still like a smaller gang. They ain't like it ain't like the mob, money. You feel me? The mob is like crazy. You know, the mob, with all the mob period money, it's probably about 500, 600 heads money for the whole mob. I know for sure out in the streets, there's at least 200 heads out. You feel me? Everywhere, moving around. I run into cats here and there, but everybody living their life. You feel me? They're living their life. They're with their families. They got the kids. They're putting the kids in college, and you know what I'm saying. They work for the union, and they're about to retire from the union, homie. They're doing good for themselves, money, taking care of their family and all that shit, money. But they never forget where they come from. And when I see them, they pull over, they salute, they show love and all that shit. I salute all my peoples. They're taking care of their families, doing what they got to do, living the good life, staying out of jail, staying out the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I respect all that shit, my boy. I send all my love to all those homies that is doing that, right? And just know that the San Carlos area, homie, they had their own offshoot, which was Drake Street, homie, which is located in the same area where the Hells Angels had their clubhouse. We just happened to have the homie Twinkie, who lived right across the street from the clubhouse, money. So we were always there on Drake Street. You know what I'm saying? Drake Street, just right when you pull into Drake Street, there's fucking 5 houses right there with mob autos. You had Chano from fucking VLM, Twinkie from San Carlos, Creeps from San Carlos, Chucks from Southside VLM. You had Big Mike, Monstro. Fucking in the back you had Lee Store Baker. Fucking they were all back there. There was a bunch of heads starting to be all back there, money. You feel me? And and that gave us an opportunity to take over that area, homie. So we took over that area, homie. The horseshoes to go back there, blast, all that. We had a lot of shit, homie. So the dudes from the Hells Angels wasn't feeling that shit. They didn't want no unnecessary attention, and we felt what they were saying, homie. But we were still going at it with these cats, you feel me? But we just went 100 and just tried to get the shit over and done with, so that these dudes know this is our area. Ain't no one gonna push us out. Ain't no one gonna move us. You feel me? And that was in '99, homie. So that was the offshoot of San Carlos, you know what I'm saying? And so to make all these dudes feel uncomfortable, money, what I did was I would go and write all over the dumpsters, all over the walls, San Carlos, mob, everywhere, money. And these dudes were just fucking hated too. They just started all moving out. So like I didn't have to do a lot of shit. I probably put down like 5, 6 demos in that neighborhood in '96, and maybe 3, 4 more in '97. And after that, it was us. You feel me? There was no anything else unnecessary after that. There was never no problems with anybody denying or arguing about whose hood that is. You know what I'm saying? And that's how that shit was over there out San Carlos, money. Understand, money? I got into a lot of shit because when San Carlos started up, homie, they already had their personal beefs already. They already had beef with this hood and that hood. As far as when their first year out, they already started beefing with Valle Grande Sharks. These vatos that were going to Foundry and Broadway were starting up new neighborhoods somewhere around the San Carlos area or on the west side. And like I said, we don't let other neighborhoods start up, so the homies from San Carlos are going at it with them, you know what I'm saying? And these guys were a little bit deeper than the San Carlos boys at a certain point, and Alma had to step in real quick, you feel me? We went up in there and we shut these vatos down and all that type of shit, you know what I'm saying? And it was just done after that, you know what I mean? And but San Carlos has been there since 1996, money. Last year was 25 years, money. That's a fucking quarter century, money. You know what I'm saying? Long ass time that barrio has been right there, money. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, we didn't, you know, and like I said, money. If the shoe was smart from the fucking gate, money, then they would have fucking put us under their wing a long time ago, back in like 1991, 92, money. You feel we could have had, we probably would have been a part of Horseshoe. You know what I'm saying? I mean, sometimes you get those, it's like a football, baseball team, sometimes you get those good gang members. The #1 draft pick gang members and shit. I just happen to be one of them. You know what I'm saying? I turned the neighborhood, the mob, homie, who we were getting assaulted crazy, 1990, 91, 92, getting chased up and down the fucking streets, G-money. You know what I'm saying? But we had to take other extreme measures, money, to deal with these extreme cats that were older than us. So, you know, they were able to do more shit to us that, you know, we didn't catch. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in foster homes. I was in LA, money in the streets. You feel me? So I was a little bit ahead of a lot of cats. You feel me? And because I was able to understand and know when was a good time to handle whatever I got to handle. And like I said, man, if Horseshoe was smart, bro, they would have pulled us, money. If I would have got pulled by SSP, homie, the mob, San Carlos, Horseshoe probably wouldn't even be there. If I would have got pulled in the Horseshoe, the mob might not be there, money. And for sure they wouldn't have been over there on San Carlos. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, money, because I was really extreme when it came to my audio and shit. You know what I'm saying? And I let motherfuckers know. You know, motherfuckers go there. If you go there and you cross us out, I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna fucking put you in the motherfucking hospital, money. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be the motherfuckers trip out. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna go back and cross you out. Fuck, I'm gonna cross you out, motherfucker. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna shove the spray can whip in your fucking ass sideways. You know what I mean? And like I said, money, you know, back there in that area, the Chichi area, San Carlos, homie, when we went back there, homie, because like I said, so the whole thing is this, money, I only ended up over there, bro, because I was paroling, right? I was paroling, I was going to parole to Alma, but my sister at the time lived on San Carlos. Her old man had beat her up and tied her up and ended up in jail for some domestic violence bullshit. He was going to get back out. She was a little bit freaked out, so I moved in with her. You know what I'm saying? That way she doesn't have to worry about it, because this chump comes around, I'm going to fucking put one in him. You know what I mean? And so she doesn't have to worry about none of that shit. You know about how it is, they always go back with them. You know what I mean? Type of shit, right? Anyhow, money, fucking, I stay there, money. So when I'm staying there, the first day, homie, this vato that played me out of pocket in county, I talk about one of my No Guts, No Glory that's coming up, played a little bullshit ass game. So I call some person up, he answers their phone, you know what I'm saying? He says he's in that area where I happen to be at. So I tell him I'm there too, so I go back there to go look for this bitch ass motherfucker. I can't find him. I had a fucking butcher knife like this, right? So when I'm walking around Chichi in the back and everything, I notice that there's little gang named Eastside Hoods and VSJ and fucking SJBP and, you know, other little gang taggings on the walls and little fucking on the stop signs and shit like that, right? So I know there's other vatos in that area already, right? But I also see some shit crossed out with SSP and crossed out with VST and shit like that too. So I also know that there's Sureños in that area, obviously, right? They obviously got time to get out their cars and cross shit out, you know what I mean? So I stroll, money, I'm strolling, woo, woo, woo. I get back down the street and notice there's two vatos walking behind me now. So I pull into the carports of these apartments, right, where I'm staying at. And I pull into the carport, I pull into the side. These vatos walk into the carport looking for me. They pass me up so I can come out behind them. When I do that, I'm like, what's up, fool? Who the fuck you looking for? They turn around and some youngsters and they're like, oh man, my name is Negro, homie. This is Bones, homie. We were with Gustavo, you know Gustavo and Ramon. We were at their house. We seen you passing by. They told us to come and get you. So I go over there and shit. I talk to the homie. He gives me the rundown on who's who, you know, who set trips, who don't like us. He lets me know he don't really fuck with hardly nobody over there and all that type of shit. So, you know, that popped a motherfucking light bulb in my head. Money, you know, they don't like us. Woo, these guys are here. Some other dudes were around there. And then we had homies who were looking for a spot to move to. Right, the homie Cisco and the Cat. So they ended up moving to San Carlos off of Hester by the auto parts store, right behind the Lincoln Bleachers, right? And right next to the homie posted from 12th Street. Now our relationship with 12th Street is another thing, money, that people gotta understand. It's like 12th Street's the only barrio, homie, in Songho that we never beef with, never had problems with, and actually the only bit has always been our allies, money. If it wasn't for 12th Street, we may have not been able to take over San Carlos as fast as we did. You feel me? And like I said, man, I saw all those homies, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, you know, the relationship with 12th Street goes back. From 1996, it goes back to 1990, money, when Indio, Yogi, Snoopy, Payaso, Lewis, when they were all coming to our neighborhood back in 1991, 92, 91, 92, money, they were coming into our neighborhood because they went to school with the homies at Foundry or Broadway, so we already had like a connection, money, so that we would go down to 12th Street when they was on 12th Street. We went to 12th Street when they were on 10th Street by Reed. So we've always been right there with Barrio 12th Street, homie, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of times when Boxer and Pelon got their heads cracked open at a party over there in Palmas neighborhood, we went back over there, money. When the other homie from fucking that used to be in the P got into the 12 and they were tripping and shit, we went over there, money. You know what I'm saying? When anything, money, when the homies disrespected the homie Poste and Raton, I went over there, money. You know what I'm saying? Like all the time, money. Like I always looked out for Dulce. Don't get me wrong, Dulce always right there with us too. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, money, I always, if it wasn't for these vatos, homie, Little Vic, homie, Dopes, fucking Poste, fucking a lot of homies that were around that time, around that area, around that time, they were with us, homies. A lot of good homies from that barrio. You feel me? R.I.P. to the homie Boxer, homie. You know what I'm saying? That's my boy. So, like I said, money, I moved into these apartments, money, and like I said, that popped the whole idea of making this shit happen, money. And like I said, I'm not gonna talk about all the beats because it's unnecessary. Just know, like I said, man, we went up in there, homie. There was a lot of gente that didn't like our hood, and like I said, we did what we had to do, money. We didn't really go to war with all the neighborhoods back there, homie, because like I did, what war? You know what I'm saying? Like we'll fucking cocktail your fucking house, money. You know what I'm saying? We'll fucking light your fucking car up, G. You know what I'm saying? We'll fucking, I'm just saying, money, we didn't fuck around, money. I wait for you early in the morning when you come out of fucking your house to go to work. You know what I'm saying? Right there, waiting at your fucking car for you. So back in the days, we were on some other funk, money. So when I move in there, homie, they tell me that this fucking barrio called Barrio Grantiera is fucking shooting up the houses and fighting with horseshoe. And I went over there, homie, they were shit. Straight up. When I went over there, I went to anybody that wanted none of that shit, homie. And anybody that did, they got it. You know what I'm saying? From anywhere. If they came into San Carlos and tried to say anything, man, they got smashed. You feel me? And like I said, dudes from BGT that I seen over there, they didn't want none. You know what I'm saying? The couple of dudes that probably would have wanted something, they had got busted like 6 months before I got out. You know what I mean? So when I get out, like I said, I go into this area, homie, I didn't give a fuck who was from where. There was a gang of cats from Horseshoe in that neighborhood, money. You know what I'm saying? They were just bothered and mad that I was around that motherfucker, homie. But I didn't give a fuck, homie. You know what I'm saying? And I let everybody know what was up. You know what I'm saying? If they didn't like it, handle it. You know what I mean? Straight up. And that shit became ours, money. The first little homies that we had jumped into the barrio, homie, was in May 1996. Buddha, Spanky, Dirty, Toro, and Wessels. You know what I'm saying? And they may have been another 1 or 2 more cats. You know what I'm saying? That's to name a few. I think it was like 8, 9 cats got jumped in at the bleacher, right there at the football fucking field at Lincoln High School, homie. You know what I'm saying? Because we was always right there in the bleachers kicking back, drinking back then. You know what I mean? And like I said, man, San Carlos been there for a fucking quarter century, my boy. We went at it with Maker, we went at it with fucking the VST. We forced cats at that time when we moved in there. There was houses around that area that had SSP cats, Canton cats around there, VST was around there. We moved everybody the fuck out, money. And because we did that by default, that became our neighborhood, homie. Because if we cleaning the house and we're going to jails and all that shit behind this other fucking neighborhood, that's not for free, money. You know what I'm saying? We have all rights to be there, G. And if these other fucking weenies that were there, that they weren't doing shit but getting chased. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, we had to put it down, money. We had to represent, go in there and put the smash down. You know what I mean? And we did. Like I said, don't get me wrong, there wasn't a bunch of fucking punks and pussies over there. I ain't saying that. I'm just saying, at that time, SSP, Canton, and VST were really active and big, and they were really moving around there. You feel me? And don't get me wrong, they were over there with us too. And, you know, because we're right across the street from them. Literally across the street. You know what I'm saying? Like Willow Street on this side is our neighborhood. Willow Street on this side is SSP's neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, you know, Willow is actually a street they more move around on. We're more inside in the behind Willow and all the way up, you know, across Alma and all that kind of shit. But you cross a crack and you run into a fucking rival real quick, like, you know what I'm saying? So you just never know. But like I said though, San Carlos money, it wasn't planned, bro, but it was a way to deplete Horseshoe their manpower, because Horseshoe was bullies for a lot of years, homie, running into our neighborhood and doing a lot of shit to us for whatever reasons. You know what I'm saying? They just always had it out for our neighborhood since we started up. As far as getting big and getting some size, they started trying to shut us down. You know what I'm saying? Because politics played a lot of things in this, and a lot of us didn't get involved politically. These other vatos had the advantage to be able to knock a lot of people down. Now, a lot of homies, unfortunately, got knocked down from our neighborhood while they were in prison. You know what I'm saying? So it was a strategy, money. So like I said, man, we already have fuck with BGT, money. When I moved into that neighborhood, homie, I didn't run into no cats, money. I ran into some cats from BGT, but they didn't want none. I ran into cats from all those fucking neighborhoods, money. No one wanted none. They complained, you know what I'm saying? And shit like that, and then VST went across the south, so we went and fucking raped those cats. And then SSP was over there in Canton, and we made them move out of the houses. You know what I mean? I even talked about where I got caught up right there by the Taco Bell, where on one of my no guts, no glories, where I throw the fucking bottle 40 ounce through the fucking window, and the fucking sheriffs chased me down and catch me and shit. You know what I mean? And that was the dudes from San Carlos told me that was a Southsider's house. So I was like, what the fuck? So I threw my 40 through their fucking window. You know what I'm saying? And then I had caught up and I had to go to jail and shit. You know, it's nothing big. It was a little drunk night type of shit. You know what I mean? But you know, in our neighborhood, it's like you can't be there. Period. You feel me? And that's how we were treating San Carlos. And I treated San Carlos like it was Alma, money. You know what I mean? That was our neighborhood, no matter what. Now, and like I said, my first 3-4 months there, I walked around that motherfucker like it was Alma, homie. Within the first fucking 6 months to a year, we already had accumulated like 30 heads, homie. By 1999, San Carlos already had about 65 heads, homie. 70 heads. That was just San Carlos right there. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was tripped out on why San Carlos wasn't accumulating as many heads as Alma was, but because a lot of people on Alma get jumped into the mob. Dudes on San Carlos were getting jumped into all kinds of other gangs in other places and not into the mob. You know what I'm saying? Because back then it was really frowned upon or looked down upon when you was from the mob. A lot, and plus not only that, you couldn't. You had to be a certain type of individual to be from the mob. You know, because a lot of people that they just want peace. They don't like confrontation. And when you're from the mob, you're gonna have to deal with a lot of confrontation because no one likes the mob, so people are gonna hit you up all the time. You know what I'm saying? And you have to know where you're from, and they're gonna start swinging, so you have to fight. Or you have to poke them, you have to slice them, you know, or bust their melon open. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm just saying you have to make an example type of shit, demonstration, you know? And that's just the way it was back then, money. But San Carlos, like I said, money, as far as gang territory, that motherfucker is huge, money. And like I said, San Carlos has been there, man. I can tell you all kinds of shit about San Carlos, because we went through so much shit the first 3-4 years of San Carlos. And San Carlos, money, made the Alma Avenue, the West Side Mob gang, hella strong, money. Even though it's only 70 more heads over there, money, and Alma already has 100 heads, that just made us, like I said, you know, it made us a lot stronger than a lot of other gangs. Plus, the cast that we had, money, we had fucking hitters. Hitters, I'm talking about 3 carloads of nothing but hitters. I'm talking about every single person will come out that fucking car and gut your fucking eyes out your face. And then we can go and get some tacos de carne asada and some tacos de lengua and cabeza. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, my boy, motherfuckers were fucking retarded. They was crazy. We had some crazy ass bastards, homie. You know what I'm saying? They were just fucking off the hook, nuts. You know what I'm saying? They had some brain cells missing, but they like to, you know, handle business, money. They love to smash, money. And for us, in our neighborhood, it was so easy to smash because we have DST, we have SSP, we have Carton, we have Williams, and we have Horseshoe. So we don't got to go far to smash. You know what I'm saying? And us in the neighborhood, we had a lot of knuckleheads, so the homies would get blasted and then go smash. You know what I'm saying? So we took this whole mentality from Alma and took it to San Carlos. And that shit just, you know what I'm saying? That made everybody leave. Like I said, I had a beef with a lot of homies from my own barrio that were against it, didn't like it, didn't approve of it or whatnot. And then we had that internal conflict. But no matter what, San Carlos was on the list, money. You know what I'm saying? We're taking over that fucking area. That was going to help us deplete Horseshoe of its manpower. That was like the main strategy. When we seen that was an open pocket and there was really no one there, and these Southsiders from Canton and SSP and VST were coming in there and chasing homies around, that was an opportunity for us. You know what I'm saying? So we were like, fuck these fools. So we started fucking, anybody came in there from the South were getting smashed. They couldn't be in that area no more. Then they started realizing that, damn, the mob's over here now. The same fucking dudes from Alma, cachetes, he's fucking running around this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So they started knowing that. So the more and more they knew about that, the less they started coming around. And I personally don't got nothing against Horseshoe no more, money. I'll be honest with you, Kanan. Yeah, I've never really had nothing against Horseshoe. I've always, bro, these motherfuckers are calling me the peacemaker. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm always the one over there. I ain't no peacemaker, money. I'm just trying to kill shit so we don't have to be fighting with each other, because there's no reason for us to be fighting. You feel me? But there's always these dudes that were no good from that barrio that kept on always wanting to try to, you know, keep the static going, money, so that they could be protected right there in the background, because they know if we see them, there's going to be problems. You know what I mean? So that was a lot of little games that they played in tactics or whatnot that, you know, that came into play based on their barrio, because we should have been together a long time ago. Like I said, San Carlos accumulated fast, homie. Right away, they had their own beefs, homie, with Vario Grande Sharks. There was a couple of little gangs that were starting up at the time. They were going to Broadway, they were going to Foundry, you know what I'm saying? And so there was beef, homie. You feel me? And so they were really starting their own little things. It had nothing to do with Alma, but the homies from Alma came in and we shut shit down. You know what I'm saying? That these other little neighborhoods know that you ain't fucking, you can't even start right here. You can't be right here, Midtown. I don't give a fuck what you're talking about. There's none of that shit. It's all mob right here. Fuck what you're talking about. You either join the mob or get the fuck out of here. Go somewhere else and start that bullshit. A lot of dudes didn't get into these other gangs. You have River Street Boys, you have Barrio San Carlos, you have Westside Ganga, you had Ravens Court, you know what I'm saying? You had the homies in the deep west over there in the gardens, but no one really got into those neighborhoods like they were getting into Horseshoe or the mob. Plus, these gangs, they weren't on the level like the mob and the shoe even back then, because, you know, they didn't have more than 50 heads. Whereas like Horseshoe and the mob, just VALs had 50 heads. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't have numbers like that. These other neighborhoods on the west side, it was us and the shoe are the only ones that had, you know, almost 100 heads back then. You know what I mean? Even, you know, like I said, VALs was like 50. The mob was like another 50. You know what I mean? So there was at least 100 of us. But even though there was 100 of us and we're fighting every gang in San Jose, and like I said, we're not racist, we're fighting with everybody. You know what I'm saying? Anybody they wanted to bring, anybody they wants to help these fools, anybody want to help, anybody we don't get along with, they're all going to get it. You know what I'm saying? And no matter what, you feel me? At some point we're going to run into people. And back then, the mob, we jumped everybody. Everybody knows the mob will fucking jump your motherfucking ass. Everybody from Alma, we would go to San Carlos and we would kick it out there. So when we would rush Southsiders on San Carlos, you know what I'm saying? We would yell out San Carlos. You know what I'm saying? And even though there was, you know, 30 heads that were there, 20 of them are all from Alma. But they don't know that. You know what I'm saying? And we would rush cars and fuck people up. Anybody over there. Anybody we fucked up on San Carlos, if you was from Valle Libre Mob, and you were from the north side or the east side, and then you was over, and you had all the homies from Alma, Valle Locos, if we were all on San Carlos, we were all banging San Carlos money. If San Carlos came to Alma, they all banged Alma money. If we all went to the east side, we all banged eastbound money. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the way we did it when we ran around, to be able to let motherfuckers know to step the fuck back. And then, like I said, we had a gang of hitters money. So swallowing up San Carlos money wasn't something, like I said, it wasn't conspired or nothing like that money. It just happened the way it happened.
That don't know murder, don't make G's. Big ass gas for the big paybacks.
We needed more heads money. There wasn't enough of us. And the dudes that we did have, they weren't extreme. We needed some extreme people. We needed some heads that were just like, they didn't give a fuck. Because we had too many people coming in our neighborhood that didn't give a fuck.
Fuck those that hatin', these pussies ain't Nathan.